set the stage. When did you first hear the word meditation, and what did you make of it?
It was actually George Harrison's wife, Patty, who had heard that Maharishi was coming to town. And she said we should all go. It was one of those things. And I was personally not in a good place. I think, just overdoing it in the 60s. So I was just not very sort of centered.
You just sort of sit there and you let your mind go. Whatever it's going, doesn't matter what you're thinking about. Just let it go. And then you just introduce the mantra or the vibration, just to take over from the thought. You don't will it or use your willpower. If you find yourself thinking, then at the moment you realize you've been thinking about things again, then you replace that thought with the mantra again.
Then the aim, as opposed to sitting and thinking or anything, is to reach a point in the sense where you have no thoughts, is it?
Have you ever tried to meditate? I have, or at least I think I have. It's been defined in many ways, but from what I've gathered, it's all about mindfulness, deliberate contemplation. I can only do that if I'm working on something or writing something, because for so many of us, our thoughts feel like such a blur that the idea of sitting somewhere and thinking about one thing in particular or nothing at all seems more difficult than writing a symphony. But now, imagine you're so good at meditation that you could send your mind into the stratosphere, because that's the origin of this song. Prudence is a real woman and the sister of Mia Farrow. And when she and the Beatles went off to India to discover enlightenment under the guidance of the Maharishi, Prudence was so keen on achieving that goal that she abandoned the Beatles and disregarded the Maharishi's spiritual warnings and sent her mind into the next plane of existence, presumably. And this is the story of how Dear Prudence came to be. Dear Prudence is Me, written in India, a song about Mia Farrow's sister, who seemed to go slightly barmy, meditating too long and couldn't come out of that little hut that we were living in. They selected me and George to try and bring her out because she would trust us. If she'd been in the West, they would have put her away. She'd been locked in for 3 weeks and wouldn't come out, trying to reach God quicker than anybody else. That was the competition in Maharishi's camp. Who was going to get cosmic first? What I didn't know was I was already cosmic.
Won't you come out to play?
Being on that course was more important to me than anything in the world. I was very focused on getting in as much meditation as possible so that I could gain enough experience to teach it myself. I knew that I must have stuck out because I would always rush straight back to my room after lectures and meals so that I could meditate. John, George, and Paul would all want to sit around jamming and having a good time, and I'd be flying into my room. They were all serious about what they were doing, but they just weren't as fanatical as me. At the end of the course, just as they were leaving, George mentioned that they had written a song about me, but I didn't hear it until it came out on the album. I was flattered. It was a beautiful thing to have done.
It's always so amazing to me where these songs come from and the real people that inspired them. Maybe life's lessons aren't always learned internally. Maybe they are how we internalize the external. Maybe meditation doesn't have to be just one way, sitting somewhere and inhaling incense. Maybe meditation can be when you write a song or a story, or just sit with a cup of coffee and think about something cosmic. Or maybe we're already cosmic.